unfortunately, they don't really understand that he has this issue of Alzheimer's disease. And there are some behavioral issues that tend to be unreasonable. Altercation with this young man, and then they started beating him up. So they beat him and beat him and beat him until his family came and rescued him. And they were telling him, he's telling the people in the compound, he's not well, he's not well. So these are the kind of shows that we need, like what you're doing now, to educate people that sometimes when people behave abnormally, when they are forgetting things, they have actually a condition. So we need community support, people to be able to understand that this is a neurological disease, this is a disease that can happen to anybody, and to be able to support them in the community. We also need to have family support. What we have seen now is that patients who have good family support tend to do much better than those who do not. So a family where the grandpa is there, the parent is there, the children is there, that social interaction, which has been proven to be one of the protective mechanisms to prevent dementia, is also one of the ways to manage the disease, because the parents always do well in such situations. They are stimulated, mentally and socially. They become happier. And then they also feel like their voice still matters, that they're still important. So we need family support, community support. We need also for governments to also be able to institute health policies where people at the primary healthcare level can be able to identify patients with memory problems and cognitive problems and be able to refer them early to the tertiary health center where they can get the help that they need. So we need early diagnosis and treatment. We need also that we have about 220 million people in Nigeria, and about 5% of them are above the age of 60. So that's what the prevalence is in that age group. So we estimate that there should be about 500,000 people, 500,000 people now currently living with dementia within Nigeria. However, only about 9 out of 10 of them have been diagnosed, because it has been proven that in low and middle income countries that the diagnosis of dementia, the rates are very low. Even in advanced countries, just, your belly, 75% of them are undiagnosed. So even though we have such a high burden, we have a very low rate of diagnosis.
Right. Thank you so much for your contribution and for your time on the program. It's been such an educating moment I'm sure for me and for everybody else that has been listening to you. A pleasure again having you. I've been speaking with Dr. Nkechi Obianozie, consultant neurologist at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital. Well, moving on, it's cheering news for HIV prevention as the federal government, through the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, joins global leaders on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York to announce a historic price reduction for a revolutionary HIV prevention drug, lenacapavir. The landmark agreement unveiled at the Clinton Global Initiative 2025 annual meeting reduces the cost of the twice-yearly HIV prevention injection from $28,000 to just $40 per person per year. This development will make the medicine accessible to millions of Nigerians. We have more on this and other stories on our health news segment.
The Lagos State government, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health through the National AIDS and STIs Control Program and international partners, have launched the Nigeria State-Level Antiretroviral Therapy Impact Survey in Lagos. The Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Ministry of Health, Dr. Olusegun Ogboye, says the community-based survey program seeks to estimate HIV treatment coverage and viral load suppression amongst adults and will commence by October until December 2025.
I'd like to also ask the field workers that have been recruited for this work to please take the task extremely seriously. The information that we draw from the results that you give us are going to be used for planning at the ministry and also at national level. And it's important that it's as accurate as possible.
And experts in the health sector have identified lack of obstetrics and gynecological care for pregnant women as the leading cause of over 1,000 maternal and child mortality cases out of every 100,000 deliveries. The former chief medical director of the Federal University of Health Sciences Teaching Hospital, Otukpo, Professor Silas Ojojile, made this known at the Maternal Mortality Reduction Innovation Initiatives organized by the Federal Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Benue State Government. Professor Ojojile was speaking at the week-long workshop where 172 local governments with high mortality rates have been selected for implementation across the country.
What determines whether the women will survive or not is prompt quality emergency obstetric care. The complications kill very fast. So from the onset they appear, what we call danger signs, to when the women die is a factor of how prompt the intervention is gotten. Postpartum hemorrhage, which is bleeding after childbirth, takes an average of 2 hours to kill. Bleeding in pregnancy that is more than 8 months, that is what we call abruptio placentae. Premature separation of a normally situated placenta takes an average of 12 hours to kill.
And the World Health Organization has revealed that the uncontrolled high blood pressure puts over 1 billion people at risk. The WHO, in its second Global Hypertension Report, shows that 1.4 billion people lived with hypertension in 2024, yet just over 1 in 5 have it under control, either through medication or addressing modifiable health risks. The new report also revealed that only 28% of low-income countries have all WHO-recommended hypertension medicines generally available in pharmacies or primary healthcare facilities. Hypertension is a leading cause of heart attack, stroke, chronic kidney disease, and dementia. It is both preventable and treatable, but without urgent action, the WHO says millions of people will continue to die prematurely and countries will face mounting economic losses.
Well, that's our show today, but as we close the health matters, Alzheimer's may take away memories, but it doesn't take away dignity, humanity, or the need for care and love. By learning more, we can reduce stigma and support those who need us the most. That's Health Matters for this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers. Until next time, stay informed and stay healthy.
Modern lifestyle requires a lot of energy, backed up by intense production processes, which impact the environment in more ways than one.
The world has realized that you cannot deal with climate change without looking at loss of biodiversity.
On Eco Africa, nature speaks and the discerning mind becomes champion of sustainable living.
One thing we want to do is to change public behavior around recycling.
Watch Eco Africa on Channels Television and find out what nature is saying.
Power Oil Light. Light enough for movement. Real enough for taste. Power Oil, my choice for my family.
From the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA. This is NIDA Impact, your guide to a digital Nigeria.
Digital Public Infrastructure (DPI) offers a pathway to harness digital power for public good. This quote by Digital Impact Alliance highlights the importance of DPI. Welcome to NIDA Impact. I am Kinyese Wabuke.
This is NIDA Impact, your guide to a digital Nigeria.
Today we're shining the spotlight on how NIDA is championing innovation, digital inclusivity, and the deployment of digital public infrastructure (DPI) as the backbone of modern governance. Join me as we explore NIDA's blueprint, catalyzing Nigeria's digital future with public infrastructure. In an era where nations rise or stumble on the strength of their digital foundations, Nigeria is taking decisive steps to secure its place in the global digital economy. At the forefront of this transformation is the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, the federal institution championing innovation, digital inclusivity, and the deployment of digital public infrastructure (DPI) as the backbone of modern governance. You can be a part of this program by logging onto our website at www.nida.gov.ng or all our social media handles displayed right on your screen. Let's take a look at our top stories for the week. NIDA urges state government to embrace DPI for better governance service delivery. Plus, NIDA empowers kids with coding skills in Kano. And now the news in details. The National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, has called on state governments to actively support the deployment of digital public infrastructure (DPI) as a catalyst for strengthening governance, enhancing service delivery, and accelerating Nigeria's digital transformation. The appeal was made in Abuja during the opening of a two-day technical workshop, which featured an engagement session on the public review of the draft DPI Live Events Framework and the draft technical standards for the Nigerian Data Exchange (NGDX) with delegates from the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF). NIDA Impact correspondent Adatu Sahabo has details.
With the team advancing Nigeria's digital public infrastructure through standards, data exchange, and government transformation, the two-day workshop brought together representatives from government, industry, academia, and civil society to align Nigeria's digital economy initiatives with global best practices. Speaking at the opening of the workshop, Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Adelada Rafiu, represented by the Director of E-Governance, Johnson Barre, emphasized the urgency of adopting DPI as the backbone of national development.
Today's conversation is centered on a concept that is just fast becoming the backbone of the 21st century governance and service delivery, talking about digital public infrastructure. Simply put, DPI refers to the foundational digital systems that enable seamless identification, secure payments, and trusted data exchange. These building blocks allow government, businesses, and citizens to connect, transact, and innovate with speed, transparency, and efficiency. For Nigeria, the development of DPI is not just a technological aspiration, it's a development imperative. It is a foundation upon which we can deliver inclusive economic growth, reduce transaction costs in governance, improve public service delivery, and foster trust between government and citizens.
The Director General of NIDA, Kashifu Ino Abdullahi, CCI, represented by the Director of Corporate Planning and Strategy, Dr. Wariowe Dimi, stressed the importance of collaboration with states, saying the DPI framework must be co-created and co-owned by subnational governments for seamless implementation.
It's important that everybody here should have a closer look
and contribute to this review process, and that by the time we come out, co-creating this and claiming ownership of it, the implementation will be smooth. And it's important that two critical things are here. One is the review of the DBR framework, and the other is the Nigeria data exchange. Now, these two things work together to ensure that our desire to make Nigeria a digital